Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to another episode of the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. It's snowing, everyone. I feel like running down the street like Jimmy Stewart and It's a Wonderful Life right now, shouting, "Merry Christmas, movie house! Merry Christmas, old building!" But I would probably get arrested, so I'm going to pencil myself in to do a snow angel after recording today's show. But on with more serious matters. If we believe the constant fear-mongering headlines that robots will take over our jobs, the question I find myself asking is, how can we prepare our children for this future? I want to hear less about how the old job roles are disappearing, but more about the emergence of new roles that will replace them, and more importantly, how we can better educate our children to be ready for this brave new world. Sure, most kids now can use an iPhone or iPad from only 3 years old, but I'm talking about understanding the technology behind these devices that we all take for granted. And this is why I was really interested to hear about a next generation platform which makes robotics and programming completely accessible for kids of all ages. Robo Wunderkind have developed an award-winning modular robot that teaches kids the basics of coding and robotics all through the art of play. It's a great startup story, and they're based in Vienna in Austria, which is a beautiful part of the world. So buckle up and hold on tight, because I'm going to beam your ears all the way to Vienna so we can speak with Victoria Polikova, who's going to tell us all about Robo Wunderkind. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Victoria. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Hi, Neil. First of all, thank you for inviting us here. It's a big pleasure to talk to you. My name is Victoria. I'm the marketing team lead at Robo Wunderkind. We are an educational technology hardware startup, and we are producing modular robotics kits for children. In autumn 2015, we have successfully completed our first Kickstarter campaign, raising $246,000 from backers in 58 countries, and our team is based in Vienna, in Austria, and also in Shenzhen, China.
Now, when I recently came across Robo Wunderkind, like you said, it's a Vienna-based hardware startup, and you've developed that modular programmable robots for young children. And it sounds incredibly cool, but can you also help the listeners visualise a little bit more about Robo Wunderkind and what it does, and also your vision of making coding and robotics accessible to everyone?
So first of all, maybe about the product itself. Yeah. So our robotics kits are modular, and those modules come in a form of bricks. And in order to build robots, you just basically have to snap the modules together in any way you like using the small connectors that come with each robotics kit. And the robots are super easy to build and rebuild also. And the number of robots that children can create is limited basically only by imagination. And the robotics kits have various modules, and those modules are color-coded. So, for example, red modules are sensors, blue modules are motors, yellow modules are visual, and so on and so forth. And there is also a main block that we like to call a brain, which is the base for any robot that you build. And it contains all essential components like battery, memory storage, processor, and so on. So we have 3 versions of robotics kits in our product range, and those are starter kit, advanced kit, and professional kit. And those kits differ in the amount of the complexity of modules that are inside of them. So the robotics kit comes with 2 apps. One app is for programming, and another is for direct control. And basically the magic happens in our programming app, where kids choose the actions that they want their robots to perform. And they group the actions in the sequences, they can make loops, they can put different triggers, and so on. And our product teaches kids the very basics of programming and engineering principles. It develops children's logical and critical thinking skills, creativity, and many other important skills. And all of this is done through play. When playing with the Robo Wunderkind, kids learn how to learn, basically. That's the most important thing. And when they acquire this understanding and those skills at a very young age already, this will very likely have this interest in their future lives, and they will continue exploring the world of technology and engineering on their own later.
So can I take you back in time, Victoria, and ask what was your inspiration and motivation behind bringing Robo Wunderkind to life there?
So when we launched this product, we had a goal of opening a new world for kids, the world of technology. And our main motivation was to provide kids with some new experiences and to show them that learning can be fun, it can be adventurous. It's not only, this boring sitting in the classroom, but it can be also an immersive and engaging experience. And, since the beginning of this company story, our mission stays the same and everything that we're doing is aligned around it. And actually, Wunderkind is a word of a German origin that literally means a wonder child. And it's a child who is very bright, smart, and creative. And we believe that every child is a Wunderkind. And with our product, we just want to unleash the kids' potential.
Fantastic. That's a great story. Was that always your vision, to make coding and robotics accessible to everyone out there?
Yeah, sure. It stays the same. And we are just working towards that all the time.
Now, I believe you set out to reach $70,000 on Kickstarter, and you ended up raising $246,000. I mean, did that take you by surprise? How would you actually describe that journey on Kickstarter?
We have launched our Kickstarter campaign around the same time as we were at TechCrunch Disrupt conference in San Francisco. And of course, that gave us a great media exposure, and it helped us a lot in hitting the fundraising target. But the Kickstarter journey was an amazing experience, and the amount of support that we have received back then, and actually we still receive from community, it was just incredible, and it inspired us and confirmed that our idea has a great potential and that kids will love it, and their parents as well.
Now, children can often operate an iPhone and an iPad from a very, very young age, but do you think it's more important that kids grow up understanding the role of technology? And if you do, how do you think Robo Wunderkind actually helps with that?
Yeah, absolutely. The digital literacy is a very important concept these days. And we think that interaction with the Robo Wunderkind robotics kits and apps, it helps children to explore the virtual world and to learn how to use the digital devices for communicating, for expressing, and for collaboration with other kids and adults. And, we just also want kids to grow up with the mentality that technology is not difficult, that I can do it, It's not only limited for adults and kids. Kids can easily master it too.
So if I was to buy one of these for my nephews this Christmas, can you tell me what I should expect from opening the box? I mean, is it intuitive straight away? And will kids naturally know how to snap those modules together in different configurations to build those robotic creations? And do they need any pre-coding experience, etc.?
So in order to use our robotics kits, no previous exposure to programming or even reading knowledge is required. So our programming app has a visual story that guides kids through the unboxing and building processes. And it is almost completely not language-based because we want all kids, regardless of ages or backgrounds, to understand it. And also our apps are very intuitive for kids. They contain the minimum amount of text, and the user experience was just designed based on many tests with kids who are naturally the best source of feedback for products like ours.
Now, anything that can teach children the basics of coding and robotics, along with creativity, problem solving and critical thinking skills, all through play, is a fantastic thing as far as I'm concerned. But what ages are you actually aiming Robo Wunderkind at?
Our test showed us that the ideal ages to play with Robo Wunderkind are 6 to 10 years old. But sometimes 5 years old can also perfectly understand it, but it is not so common actually, and it depends on the child really. Sometimes 11 to 12 years old really enjoy it too. But mostly I would say that the target audience are kids from 6 or close to 6 and up to 10.
So what kind of feedback have you received here? Are there any stories that you can share about how kids have really taken to it?
We have actually received really positive feedback from kids, and as well as from parents and teachers. For example, we have been running many workshops in Vienna with kids of different age groups, and all of them had a lot of fun coding and playing. And, actually the most common feedback that we get from parents and teachers is that they love how kids can see the immediate result of their building and coding process and how intuitive it is. And actually our just favorite part, of course, is to hear the feedback of kids. When after the workshop they come to us and say that they want to be engineers when they grow up, it's fantastic. It's the best thing ever.
Now, you've been on a phenomenal journey with this project. You've got a successful Kickstarter campaign under your belt and a hugely successful product on your hands that's making a difference. But what happens next? I mean, what are your future plans? Is there anything else that you can share with us today?
We are shipping our first Kickstarter batch next month, and after that we will of course intensively collect the feedback about the product, and we will make a lot of continuous improvements based on this feedback. And one of our future plans is to work with more schools around the world to introduce primary school students to coding and robotics. And of course, we want to bring Robo Wunderkind to households in order to make a change in the way kids play, have fun, and learn also at home.
So can you remind the listeners of where they can find out more information about yourself and the product there, and also anything that we've talked about, and how anyone listening can actually contact a member of your team?
So the best way to find more information would be just to go to our website, robowunderkind.com, but you can also just Google our company name, which will be probably mentioned in the podcast description, and you will find us easily too. You can also follow our social media channels. We are called Robo Wunderkind on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And this way you can just stay tuned to our updates and news.
Fantastic. Well, I'll add all those links into the show notes and also onto the blog post on techblogwriter.co.uk where we'll feature this episode. Well, I think it's fantastic what you're doing there. I mean, anything, like I said in the show a few moments ago, that teaches children the basics of coding and robotics, along with creativity and problem solving and critical thinking skills, all through play. It really is a fantastic thing. And it also teaches children how to use technology correctly and not just swiping away on an iPhone or an iPad. So a big thank you for taking the time over there in Vienna for joining us today and sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you for inviting us too. It was a great pleasure to talk to you.
I love that kids can talk robots language too now, and it's easy to see why these beautifully designed robotic kits have already been pre-ordered in over 60 countries as I record this, and that demand is increasing every day. I also think it's fantastic to hear about a Vienna-based hardware startup that has a global hit on their hands, because this really does have universal appeal. And it's so much more beneficial than simply passing children an iPad to mindlessly swipe away on. And with no prior coding or even reading knowledge necessary, I think giving kids something that makes it really easy to create personalised virtual dashboards or control their creations, to solve mazes or go on treasure hunts, play music, navigate around obstacles, etc. is all incredibly exciting. But it does concern me that schools are not doing enough to prepare that workforce of tomorrow, to ensure that they're ready for that huge technological advancements that are on the horizon. Because these are skills that were essential 10 years ago and to thrive in a digital age, you don't want death by PowerPoint and you don't want 30-page spreadsheets. But kids are kids, and what I love most about Robo Wunderkind is it makes learning fun, and as someone that never paid too much attention in school, I can certainly appreciate the importance of adding fun into learning. But do you have any experience with Robo Wunderkind or any other use of technology for learning, and how is it impacting your kids' education? And if it is, I hope that you will share it with me and the listeners, and as always you can do that by emailing me at techblogwriter@outlook.com or reaching me on Twitter at Neil C. Hughes. And remember, you can also catch up with all other episodes of this podcast over on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Mixcloud, and my website at techblogwriter.co.uk. However, it's time for me to sign off now and pour myself another shot of whiskey just to keep me warm on this cold winter's night. So I will see you all tomorrow, but until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.